I've worked with a lot of women that are really concerned that their modesty will impede their birth experience. For example, I've had women that are like, I really don't feel comfortable with the idea of people seeing my vagina, my breasts, fluid coming out of me. What if I curse? What if I scream? Like, I just don't like the idea of being kind of out of control in that way. And they just get really nervous that that modesty will throw them off during the birth experience. So the first thing I want to mention is that for a lot of women, all of the modesty that they usually have is almost entirely dissolved during childbirth. It can be such an intense experience that all that modesty just kind of flies out the window and they totally forget about it. But if that doesn't happen to you, that's okay, because there are so many things that can be done to honor your modesty during childbirth. It doesn't just have to be this like you're totally nude and everybody's around seeing you scream and curse. There's ways to make you more comfortable. Absolutely. So you have every right to go into childbirth with your modesty intact. You don't feel like you need to change who you are. You don't feel like you don't need to feel like you need to compromise. You get to be as modest as you want. And so something else to keep in mind is that, okay, as I mentioned, say you have an unmedicated vaginal birth. That requires so much focus, and you're going to be probably so distracted by getting through each surge and minimizing discomfort that, again, you probably won't have any mental space left to even consider modesty. If you have an epidural, you're going to be more aware of, what's exposed, who's in the room, what you're saying. But with an epidural, you'll also be able to have more focus to, advocate for your needs regarding modesty. And then if you have a C-section, the only portion of your body that's exposed is from really the very your bikini line up to under your breasts. So there's really nothing, like your breasts aren't exposed, your vagina isn't exposed. So you don't have to be as worried about that. Okay, so what to do if you're nervous that your modesty is going to impact your birth, or you're nervous that your modesty will not be respected during birth. So the first thing I encourage you to do is figure out the elements that make you uncomfortable. So for example, are you hesitant about your vagina or your breasts being exposed? Are you nervous that you won't be able to control what you say or how you sound? Does the idea of your partner seeing birth fluids come out of your vagina make you nervous? Write down everything that's making you uneasy and then try the following. So first and foremost, put all of your needs in your birth preferences. So for example, in this document, you can ask that you only be cared for by female care providers whenever possible, that no medical or midwifery students be allowed in the room. You can request that people knock before entering the birthing space, and only stick around if they're absolutely needed, not just sticking around to watch what's going on, that they can be in there if it's essential only, to keep your lower half covered with a sheet at all times. And then anything else that makes you feel more comfortable, put that in your birth preferences. There's nothing that you can't put in there. And when you're making these preferences, don't worry about offending anybody. This is your birth and you get to have it play out the way you want as much as possible. Okay, after you make those birth preferences and you figured out exactly what your concerns are, talk to your care provider about your concerns, because a lot of times they will help you come up with fresh ideas for how to honor your modesty. They can hopefully make you feel better that, those needs will be met. And it's just good for them to really understand how you're feeling and what you want out of your birth experience. I would also make a sign for your hospital door, the door at the birth center, or even the door of the bedroom in your home that you'll be birthing in that says, "Please knock and wait for permission before entering." Because I've seen "please knock" signs and people knock and then just walk right in. So you want them to know that just knocking does not mean that they can come in. They need to then receive permission to come in. And this can ensure that nobody surprises you when you're birthing. Something else, you can determine what articles of clothing might make you feel more comfortable. So for example, you might want to have a really comfortable nursing bra that you keep on, a soft robe, non-restrictive underwear. The key here is that you don't mind getting birth fluids on any of that clothing. I also recommend having headphones handy. If you're nervous that you're going to curse or make any loud sounds, I recommend popping in headphones, turning up the volume so you can't hear anything that you say. That'll allow you to not be like, not hold in sound, but to not get self-conscious about it. And I can guarantee you that everybody in the birthing space, they're not going to judge you for anything that comes out of your mouth. You are birthing. Okay, and then determining how your birth supporters can help you. So, for example, let them know about your desire to only have people enter after they receive permission. You can let them know that you always want your lower half to be covered. Them knowing what you're wanting can help them facilitate that. You can also request the bare minimum of vaginal exams. Sometimes women that are really modest feel really uncomfortable during vaginal exams. So you are allowed to turn them down entirely or only have them when you're feeling like you want to know how dilated you are. If you're kind of uncertain about wanting your partner to see everything down there as your baby's emerging, you can absolutely ask them to stand by your head during the emergence of baby, to hold your hand, to be looking at you. I would talk to them about it because they might really, really want to see the baby emerge. But if you think that will make you uncomfortable, ultimately it's your decision. So talk to them about that if that's a desire that you have. You can also ask that the room be cleared as soon as possible after baby's delivery so you can begin breastfeeding without any onlookers. And then finally, remember that your care providers have honestly seen it all. There's nothing they haven't seen, nothing they haven't heard. So you're certainly not going to shock or offend them, even if you are totally buck naked and saying the F word every 2 seconds. All right, if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments below.